Department of Mathematics of Hindustan College of Arts and Science for, in fact, celebrating their international programs. Hard work, it shows the hard work and the teamwork by the Department of Mathematics. From day one, they started the idea of this international webinar. So I especially thank Dr. Anuradha HOD, Mathematics, and Raja Rajeshwari for joining me in the team to be a resource person among other dignitaries and scientist people. Well, I'm very happy to maybe present my work along with my team of students and the literature from chemical graph theory and drug design in this international conference. Okay, they told me this is 100th talk. It's tomorrow Gangul sir will come from Turkey. He will give his 250th talk. Probably, I think 250th talk of Gangul sir. So you are breaking records as a platform in Hindustan College to bringing great legends people around the world. So all the best. So let me talk about my topic today. So look at the topic, chemical graph theory and drug design. A very, very interesting and upcoming area of research. So it is a well-known area in mathematical chemistry. Mathematical chemistry is a very, very interesting part of chemistry. And then one of that section is chemical graph theory. So what is to do with the chemistry and graph theory? If we can connect, we can interpret any social problem as a graph. So even the chemistry is not left out. So once we enter into the concept of chemical compounds and link with the graph theory, then there comes the important role. The application is how to design the drugs, how to design drugs, how we are going to be useful as a mathematician, going to be useful in designing the drugs. That will be the concluding study of our thing. So to enter into this particular topic, few interesting algebraic applications and the initial work we can see one by one. So the main idea is to introduce for you a numerical molecular descriptor which is called topological indices. That will be the first job. So what will be a molecule, what will be a molecular graph, and what is a topological index. This is the idea initially which we are planning. So in order to make it easy for the readers to understand methods of coding chemical structures from molecular graphs, few concepts, algebraic concepts, because algebra is the most important part of almost all the engineering and medical fields. So adjacency matrix, characteristic polynomials, Laplace inverse, these are some few ideas which we will introduce initially. The importance of algebraic concepts in chemical graph theory are highlighted to motivate the researchers in this area. Well, as we know that graph theory has a wide range of application in engineering, physical, social, biological sciences, linguistics, and numerical other areas. Graph can be represented almost any physical situation involving discrete objects and relationship among them. Once you have two objects and if you have a relation between them, you link them. Whenever there are two objects are related, put a link between them. So I will take a relation as a straight line and two objects as points. So draw a line between 2 points. So a line has two ends, left and right and top or bottom. So those points which are linked by a relationship, any relationship, that is called edge, and the edge lies between two vertices if there is a relation or a link. So that's way you have any interpreting any problem into graph. Well, almost people be knowing now, everybody knows what is a graph. A graph is a two-tuple which has vertices and edges, and we know what is a connection and how do we connect a graph, disconnect a graph. Plenty of elementary things are there. Now and then we can learn in the course of time. So graph has two components, vertices and edges, dots and lines, points and lines. So in computer science people or mathematics people, so almost discrete mathematics people all study discrete mathematics. You will teach discrete mathematics. So very, very few people may not having the knowledge of graph theory. That also will come in the course of in our 1 hour. We know what will be what. Now let us see hydrocarbon. So in our this terminology is been introduced for all our people, maybe in the 9th standard, 10th standard, sometimes in the 11th or 12th standard. Hydrogen and carbon combination is called hydrocarbon. Only hydrogen and carbon should be there for an hydrocarbon. So look at the screen, we have two types of hydrocarbons, saturated and unsaturated. So why it is called saturated, why it is unsaturated? Because the valence of the carbon is 4. So 4 hydrogen should be there. So here instead of here have 3 hydrogen here, 3 hydrogen for this carbon, and this carbon is supporting a link, the 4th place. So the valence of the carbon atom is 4, it is satisfied. So it is saturated. Whereas if you look at this particular right hand side, this figure, this molecular structure, this 2 hydrogen is plugged earlier, right? The graph. And so I'll skip this. Now I'm in the quantitative hydrocarbons. I was speaking about hydrocarbon, right? Saturated and unsaturated. So saturated means the valency is satisfied for the carbon atom. Unsaturated means I removed these 2 hydrogens. So I get a double bond. Suppose if I remove these 2 hydrogen again, I'll get a triple bond. Still it's unsaturated, double, triple bond. Only single bond is saturated. But this is all happening in chemistry. But for a mathematician, for our part of study, we are not bothered about double and triple bond. If you have a bond between 2 carbon atoms, it is okay. We are not bothering about double bond or triple bond. So though saturated compound or unsaturated compound, our treatment is same. That's what I want to refer. Fine. Now, a topological representation of a molecule is called a molecular graph. Okay, what is use of this particular molecular graph? To correlate and predict physical, chemical, biological properties from the molecular structure is a very important and unsolved problem in theoretical and computational chemistry, environmental chemistry, medicinal chemistry, and life sciences. Hence, it is necessary to represent the structure of the chemical compound. So, how we represent? We represent an object, especially the molecular graph. The carbon atom or hydrogen atom is being represented by vertices, and the link is represented by the bonds. So, look at this here. Here is a propane molecule, and this is a molecular graph of this particular compound. This is the structural formula of propane, C3H8. C3H8 hydrogen atom, CnH2n plus 2, that is the alkane. Alkene is CnH2n, alkyl is CnH2n minus 2. Now it is a saturated compound. C3 means H8 because CnH2n plus 2. That is our organic compound molecular formula. So whatever may be here, for every atom I have a vertices, and for every edge I have a line. This is called molecular graph. But what we require for our chemical graph theory study is hydrogen diplet molecular graph. We don't want these hydrogen atoms. We want only carbon-carbon skeleton. So we'll take the carbon-carbon skeleton to be the graph here. It's called a P3 graph. So 3 carbon atom, 3 vertices, and 2 edges. So this is going to be the molecular graph after depleting the hydrogen atoms for our study. This is a methane molecule. Center we have carbon, 4 hydrogen. So likewise, we interpret the, the carbon-carbon skeleton in the molecular graph structure and study further. Fine. So this is about the methane, right? Now let us see how do we go further? How do we proceed? Polynomials. When you think of a polynomial, very, very important concept is plenty of things we can analyze from a polynomial with the coefficient of the polynomial. If I have a polynomial, definitely I can analyze the entire character of the polynomial. So can we construct a polynomial for a chemical structure? That is the question now. So how to do that? So let us see how to construct a polynomial from a chemical structure. So let us take this particular compound. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 butane molecule. In there you have 2 sub here, that is CH3, CH3. CH4 means methane, CH3 means methyl. So I have the second position in the chain, 2-dimethyl butane. So this compound name is 2,2-dimethyl butane. So I will draw the molecular graph. This is the molecular graph of this particular compound, 2,2-dimethyl butane. So there are totally 6 vertices. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can name it as V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, V6. I'm audible. Is the screen page number 9? Is it the page number 9?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to construct a matrix for this particular chemical molecular graph. How do I take a matrix? Adjacency matrix. What is an adjacency matrix? Draw the vertices in a row, plot the vertices in the column. It is a square matrix with the row and column filled by the vertices and vertices. And whenever there is an edge between two vertices, I will put 1. Otherwise, I'll put 0. So 1, 0 matrix. Look at this. This is the adjacency matrix of this particular graph. So if you see V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, V6, similarly, the rows V1 to V6, V1 is adjacent to V2, so I put a 1 here. V1 is not adjacent to other vertices, so I'll put 0. V2 is adjacent with V1, with V3, V4, and V5. V3 is adjacent with only V2, not with others. Likewise, I fill 1 and 0 here. This is well-known matrix called adjacency matrix. Well, I have a compound, molecular compound, 2,2-dimethyl butane. I have drawn hydrogen diplicate molecular graph. Then I have written the adjacency matrix. Now I am going to construct these matrix, these polynomial, especially characteristic equation. You know well what is the characteristic equation. Suppose if I have a square matrix A, then there exists a non-zero column vector X and a scalar lambda such that Ax equal to lambda X. If this is satisfied for a non-zero matrix, column matrix X, if Ax is lambda X, then lambda is called the eigenvalue and X is called the eigenvector. So let us construct this polynomial characteristic equation, determinant A minus lambda I equal to 0. For this matrix, all the principal diagonal, I'll subtract lambda, okay, A minus lambda into I is unit matrix, and then take determinant and equal to 0. So for my convenience, I can use it in another way. Determinant A minus lambda, characteristic polynomial, I can write as determinant of xi minus a. One and the same. Determinant will not change here. So instead of A minus lambda I put xi minus a. This is our terminology in chemical graph theory. So let us expand this polynomial. I get a polynomial of degree n. The characteristic polynomial of this matrix will be degree n in general. But the previous matrix, the degree is 6. So I get a polynomial of degree 6. So the first coefficient is the x1. This is a monic polynomial. Always the highest degree coefficient is 1. Then x power n minus 1, I called as first coefficient CG1, x power n minus 2 CG2, and so on, the constant term CGN. Or shortly, I can write k 0 to n CGK x power n minus k. So this is fixed for me. Fine. Now let us look into some interesting properties. What happens here? What does the coefficient do? And so on. And I also express you more about the coefficients. So look at this graph, V1, V2, V3, V4. There are 4 vertices. So 4 by 4 matrix. Then if 5 edges are there, let me write the adjacency matrix that and write the characteristic equation CHAX, that is determinant x minus lambda I, x minus a minus lambda I, or a minus xi, whatever may be. So this is going to be other way, x minus determinant of x minus ai. Fine. So I get the polynomial. You can expand the polynomial. You can very easily see this is the polynomial. You can do by yourself just in a flash of time. It is a 4 by 4 matrix. Expand the determinant. It is x power 4 minus 5x square minus 4. So now let us analyze the outside. If you look at this, this is absent. X power 3 is absent. Why it is absent? That is the question. If you see the constant term also here, it is absent. Why it is absent? We have to. That's a question now. So now, if you start asking these type of questions, will it be absent always? X power 3. If it is x power n, what about x power n minus 1? Will it be present? No, it will be absent always, because the first term C1, x power n minus 1, that is x cube term, is absent because the coefficient is 0. Because if you look at the previous matrix, adjacency matrix, let me go to this adjacency matrix for the graph. Look at the principal diagonal, it is 0. What is the sum of the principal diagonal elements? It's called trace of the matrix. The trace of the matrix is sigma ai, or sum of principal diagonal elements. That's answer is 0. The trace is 0. You have a very good property that the characteristic polynomial of the matrix Okay, square matrix, if you take, it is nothing but the first coefficient is sum of the eigenvalues. The sum of the eigenvalues in algebra is trace of the matrix. And if you see the product of the eigenvalues, it is a determinant of the matrix. The product of the eigenvalues is determinant of the matrix. The sum of the eigenvalues, that is lambda 1, lambda 2 up to lambda n, is called trace of the matrix. Product of the eigenvalues lambda 1, lambda 2 up to lambda n is the determinant of the matrix. Then what about the second coefficient C2? It is sum of the product of eigenvalues 2 at a time. Suppose lambda 1, lambda 2, lambda 3 are eigenvalues of a 3 by 3 matrix. Then automatically lambda 1 plus lambda 2 plus lambda 3 is equal to trace. Lambda 1 into lambda 2 into lambda 3 is your determinant. Lambda 1, lambda 2 plus lambda 2, lambda 3 plus lambda 3, lambda 1 is nothing but your sum of product of eigenvalues 2 at a time. That is the coefficient, second coefficient in your polynomial. But then if you apply all those things here, automatically you can see this x cube term is absent because trace of the matrix is 0. Also, the constant term is vanished, that means determinant is 0. Product of the eigenvalue is 0 means at least one eigenvalue should be 0. So one clue here we get is because determinant is 0, one of the eigenvalue is 0. Okay, let us see what is this minus 5 and minus 4. It is interesting to see in this particular graph a property that this is a C2. The second coefficient, you put negative of the second coefficient is 5, number of edges. And if you look at the coefficient, third coefficient, the negative of that by 2 is the number of triangles on the C3 in this graph. So these are some interesting, simple graph. Fine. So let us take a bipartite graph. As a mathematician, we are always interested to try to do before going for chemical compounds, we'll explore the idea and see what is happening for the bipartite graph. This is not a complete bipartite graph. Please see, it is not complete. It is simply a bipartite graph. So if I put a 5 by 5 matrix and calculate a polynomial x power 5 minus 3x cubed plus x. Also here constant term is 0, fourth term is 0. Here also one eigenvalue is 0. So there is a beautiful property in a bipartite graph. A graph is bipartite if and only if xi plus xn plus 1 minus I is always 0 for all I. So if you calculate the eigenvalues, it comes out to be 1, minus 1, 0, 2, minus 2. You take the sum of the eigenvalues 0. Product of the eigenvalue is 0 here. And if you take minus 1 and plus 1, answer is 0. Minus 2 and plus 2 is 0. If you put xi plus 1 minus I, the properties are satisfied. So this is an interesting part in our properties of the adjacency matrix and the characteristic polynomial. Okay, let us see what happens to the eigenvalues, the adjacency matrix, lambda 1 up to lambda n. Well, if there are two isomorphic graphs, definitely their polynomial will coincide. But the converse is not true. That is, if you have two graphs having polynomials, okay, it's same polynomial, characteristic polynomial, but it need not necessarily through that they need to be isomorphic. So, okay, two non-isomorphic graphs which have same characteristic polynomial are said to be isospectral. Is the special name isospectral. So one such example is this 2,2-dimethyl pentane and 2-methyl 4-ethyl hexane. The polynomial is same for both the compound. This is 2, 3 methyl, so dimethyl, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 heptane. So 2, 3 dimethyl heptane, and another compound is second position methyl, fourth position ethyl C2H5. This is also having both are having equal number of vertices, but the non-isomorphic graphs, the two are isospectral compounds arise because the polynomial is same, but the total behavior of the compound is different. So this is the converse of the theorem. Two graphs have same characteristic polynomial, need not be isomorphic. Well, so let us take an example in graph. Look at this particular graph. This is a cycle graph C4. This is also cycle, but not this isomorphic GA and GP. Both have the same polynomial. Both are the same characteristic polynomial. Fine. This graph is a disconnected graph with the 5 vertices. This is a connected graph with 5 vertices. Okay. Both have same polynomial, but they are not isomorphic. They are not isomorphic. So again, this is an example. Well, so the reason for studying polynomial is that, as like in mathematics, you have several physical properties, algebraic properties you can see. Similarly, when you interpret in chemistry the adjacency matrix concept, plenty of informations in the chemical compound. The chemical applications of the graph theory is one such, and theoretical chemistry, polynomial plays a major role. Hankel molecular orbital theory and related simple electron models are concerned with the topology of conjugation molecules. So the characteristic polynomial of molecular graph function in this context has a scalar discriminant. So the theory of aromaticity based on topological resonance energy requires the knowledge of zeros. Zeros means the roots of the matching polynomial. Clare's theory. Similarly, the monomer dimer model, Hoyezer topological index, which predicts physiochemical properties of saturated compounds of the coefficient of Z counting polynomial. So likewise, we can keep on telling many applications. So we will take so applications of the topological indices as well as the the eigenvalues. So later I will go into the eigenvalue detail, how it is going to be connected with the energy. Okay, so this is about the polynomial. We solve, we get the zeros, and we write the polynomial. Zeros, the polynomial, not necessarily real numbers. They can also be complex numbers. Zeros can also be common. The collection of eigenvalues is called the graph spectrum. Another spectral graph theory is a separate area of study. Okay, spectral graph theory, very interesting study. The spectrum of this graph is more important in theoretical chemistry because of intimation of relationship between the eigenvalues, molecular graph, and the Hankel molecular theory, orbital energy levels. Well, so if you think of the positive and negative of the valence, minimum and maximum valence, suppose the maximum valence of the vertex D max, then you put a negative sign. So the eigenvalues lies between, this is called Fibonacci theorem, eigenvalues between negative of D max and positive of D max. This is Fibonacci theorem, the limits of the graph spectrum. Equality is achieved with the right hand side if all the vertices of the graph have same valence, and equality achieved with the left hand side if graph is bipartite. Non-isomorphic graphs may possess identical relation of all these vertices. Well, so our study is going to be here on topological indices. Two types of topological indices are there. One is distance-based relation, Wiener index, edge Wiener, terminal, Harare, reverse, and so on. Another study is about connectivity, topological indices based on connectivity. Zagreb group of indices, Zagreb 1, Zagreb 2, Zagreb 3, reformulated, atom bond, augmented Zagreb, Zagreb co-index, Estrada, Z-index, and so on. So both the sites we have studied and we have collected literature for our talk today. Look at this person, Harold Wiener, in 1947. He introduced two terminologies, namely path number W and polarity number P. Later, the path number was termed as Wiener number. So topological index is a numerical parameter of a molecule based on certain features of corresponding molecular graph. It's an invariant number calculated from a graph representing a molecule. I already mentioned you what is a molecular graph. Take the vertices as the molecule carbon atoms and the link between carbon and atom as edges. I can draw a graph. So for each graph, I can find a fixed number. I can calculate a number, a graph invariant. That number is called the index. That is called topological index. So Wiener started his work in 1947 and then discussed and shown the first application of this topological index. So here, Wiener predicted the boiling point of hydrocarbon by a linear formula, which is given by, this is the boiling point TB, is equal to constant times the Wiener index plus constant time the polarity number plus constant, AX plus BY plus C. So W is Wiener number, P is the polarity, and this boiling point is TB. So it varies on a plane, constant times AW, constant B times P and C. So such a beautiful application is there of this particular index, Wiener index. So what is that Wiener index? Let us see. So Wiener index of a graph is a topological descriptor. It is defined as the sum of the half of the distance between every pair of vertices of the graph. Sum of the half of the distance between every pair of vertices. So I can take the sum all the pairs of vertices. So it will be a repetition, V1 and V2, V2 and V1, V5 and V6, V6 and V, Vi and Vj, Vj and Va. So 2i's it will appear. So I can write half times. Or if I don't want that, I can write the formula as sigma I less than j, distance between Vi, Vj. Distance between Vi, Vj is the shortest distance here. D of Vi, Vj is the shortest distance between two vertices. So I can either use this formula or this formula. And immediately mathematicians wants to explore the idea what is the minimum and maximum. So for a tree, the minimum is a star graph and the path graph will give the maximum value. That will go later stage. Now let us see an example. The number is widely used in computational chemistry to measure some topological properties. Boiling point, molar volume, a melting point can be predicted using this particular index. That study is called quantitative structure property relationship. Let us see now a simple graph with 4 vertices and calculate what is the Wiener index. So calculate the distance between V1, V2, V1, V3, shortest distance, V1, V4, V3, V4. So everything has been calculated. Apply the formula. Wiener index of the graph is D, Vi, Vj. Answer is 8. So for this particular graph, the Wiener index is 8. So this is how we calculate the Wiener index. Well, so what is the Wiener index of a complete graph? Immediate question for us in mind. So for which graph the Wiener index will be the least? For which graph Wiener index will be the maximum? I will fix a n vertices. Draw a complete graph with the n vertices. So what will be the Wiener index? If you calculate the distance between the any two vertices in a complete graph, then it is always 1. The smallest value is 1, and it has maximum all edges, almost all over all the every pair of vertices you have connected by an edge. So you'll get the smallest number, n into n minus 1 by 2, n square minus 1, n by 2. But if you go to the path graph, V1, V2 up to Vn, it's a long chain. It's a long chain, okay, like a protein, long chain compound for a path graph. And then the distance between V1, V2 is 1, V1, V3 is 2, V1, V4 is 3, V1, V5 is 4, V1, Vn is n minus 1. So the distance is increasing. So this gives you a large value for the same n. And then the Wiener index of the path graph n into n square minus 1, or n into n minus 1, okay, into n plus 1. So by 6, or n cube minus n by 6. If you compare these two, the smallest Wiener number for a complete graph with n vertices, this largest Wiener number with n vertices is the path graph. So any graph in the world, G, okay, will have a Wiener number lying between lower bound is complete graph, n square minus n by 2, upper bound is n cube minus n by 6. So this is what we always see mathematics people. Whenever we give a number, we see which is whether it is lower, what is the lower value, what is the upper value. So that the bond and limits. Now, if you go and see the previous, I have put an inequality here telling that the Wiener number of a tree. You know what is a tree? Difference between a tree and a graph. A graph is a connected graph, we know, but for a tree, especially this acyclic graph. A connected acyclic graph is a tree. So here for a tree, again the maximum is a path graph. The minimum is not a complete graph, it is star graph. Because path graph has 2 pennant vertices, star graph has n minus 1 pennant vertices. The distance between this is always for the tree, the distance is maximum distance between any two vertices is 2, always 2, fixed 2, and the center of vertex is 1. So this gives the minimum value and path gives the maximum value. Well, so that is about the topological indexes. First index, Wiener index. Okay, suddenly when we always think about vertices, carbon atoms, why don't we think about the bonds, covalent bonds, edges? So can we calculate the distance between the edges? Distance between points is Wiener index. Distance between edges is edge Wiener index. So for that, I have to calculate distance between E1 and E2 is 1, E1 and E3 is 2, E1 and E5 is 2, E1 and E4 is 3. So the Wiener index of a particular graph, this graph is 31. Wiener index is 31. What is the edge Wiener index of this graph? The edge Wiener index of this graph can be calculated for the distance of the edges, or simply convert this to line graph. Convert this to line graph. Line graph means convert vertices to edges, edges to vertices. So the graph becomes like this. If you calculate the Wiener index of this graph, that is going to be the 16. So 16 is going to be the edge Wiener index of this graph, and 16 is the Wiener index of this line graph. That is nothing but Wiener index of the edge Wiener index of the graph. But again, mathematicians always try to put a formula, derive a formula, a beauty of mathematics. So take a tree of order n, then definitely there is a relationship between, a beautiful relationship is been given. Wiener index, edge Wiener index is equal to Wiener index minus NC2. Wiener index minus NC2 is edge Wiener index. So Wiener index is 31. Then NC2 is going to be 15 here with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 62. So answer is 16. That's going to be a edge Wiener index. This is a beautiful interplane. Well, again, we think of a polynomial. Why not calculus? Not only algebra, calculus also come into picture here. The Wiener index, Wiener polynomial. What is Wiener polynomial for graph? It's defined as W of GQ. The variable is Q here. Sigma for all pair of vertices UV belong to VG. Q raised to the power distance between UV. So distance between UV is 1. Distance between UV is 2. Distance between UV is K. So smallest distance is 1. Largest distance, we have to see what is the distance. So accordingly, we'll run the sigma and calculate the polynomial. Well, we will calculate the polynomial, Wiener polynomial. Okay. Before that, let us see Wiener index of this particular graph. Let us take this graph. What is Wiener index of the graph? Well, let us use the second formula. Distance between V1, V2, 1. V1, V3 is 2. So 1 plus 2. V1, V4 is 3. So 1 plus 2 plus 3. V1, V5 is 2. V1, V6 is 1. So V1 is over. Next V2. I less than J. V2 with the V3 is 1. V2 with the V4 is 2. V2 with the V5 is 2. Okay, because I need not travel like this. V1, V5. V1, V5, V2, V5 is like this. V6 and then V5. Shortest distance is 2. V2, V6 is 2. And then 1. Then with V3, 1 plus 2 plus 2. With V4, 1 plus 2. With V5, 1. That's all. The answer is 24. So the Wiener index of this graph is 24. Let us calculate the Wiener polynomial of this particular graph. Use the formula sigma all pairs UV belong to be Q raised to the power dV. So what is the distance between pair of vertices? 1. How many pair of vertices are there of distance 1? Q 7 pairs. So Q raised to the power 1. Q power 1 plus Q power 1 plus Q power 1 7 times. So 7Q. That means Q raised to the power 1 comes 7 times because 7 edges are there. So edges is there. The polynomial 7Q. Next, Q square. How many pairs are there of distance to V1, V3 is a pair on Q square. V2, V3 is Q square. V2, V5 is Q square. V3, V6, V5 is Q square. V4, V6 is Q square. V4, V5, V1 is Q square. And then of course, V3, V6 is also square is a 2. Distance is 2. So 7 possibilities are there. 7 times you get Q square here. So 7Q square. How many pair of vertices are there of distance? 3. There is V1 and V4. That's all. Only 1. 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3. Both the sides. So only 1. So 1 into Q power. So this is the polynomial. This polynomial is called the Wiener polynomial. Okay, I got the Wiener polynomial. So what I'm going to do with this polynomial, let me differentiate this polynomial with respect to Q. If I differentiate this polynomial dW by dQ, it's 2, 3Q square plus 14Q plus 7. And substitute 1 here, Q equal to 1. If you substitute, differentiate with respect to Q and substitute Q equal to 1, 3 plus 14 plus 7 going to be 24. So beautifully we get this Wiener index from Wiener polynomial. Differentiate the Wiener polynomial with respect to variable and substitute the variable as 1, I get the polynomial. So beautiful interplay between the topological index and the polynomial. Okay, this is where the mathematician should be proud that how much logically things are going in his findings. The next index is terminal Wiener index. Okay, this was recently by Ivan Gutman in 2009. He forwarded this new molecular descriptor. He is about age 87 in Serbia University. He is running the famous journal, chief editor of the journal, Arts Communication and Computer Science Chemicals. I'll show at the end of the journal name, Ivan Gutman. In 2009, we have also collaborated a paper along with Ivan Gutman in 2014. In 2009, he introduced terminal Wiener index. What is this terminal Wiener index? Instead of calculating the sum of the distance between all pair of vertices, why don't you calculate the sum of all pairs of pendant vertices? Because what is a pendant vertices in a graph means degree 1. So pendant vertices means a methyl compound. CH3 is in the pendant. In the terminal, you have CH3. So wherever you have a methyl and the pendant end, the end, pendant vertices will be there in the graph. That means those are all methyls. CH3, CH3, CH3. So there I will calculate. It's a possibility of connecting another compound. Whenever instead of breaking a bond in between, attaching to the tail another rope is very easy, right? Tying to instead of middle. So sometimes the bond will not break in middle. So getting connected with an end, another start. Getting connected to the end, another start. So the compound will be growing. So what he said is that why don't we find the pairs distance between only the pendant vertices? Then he named it as terminal binary index of the graph. So TW of G is D of the tree, DT, VI, VJ, are pendant vertices. So this give us a terminal binary index compound. Here V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, V6. These vertices are pendant vertices. 1, 2, 3, 4 internal vertices are there, the tree. 4 pendant vertices, 4, 1 to 4, 6 pendant vertices are there. So calculate with V1 and V2, distance is 1 plus 1 plus 1, 2. V1 with V3, 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1, 4. So likewise, if we calculate 3 plus 4 plus 2 plus 5 plus 6, then go for V2, then go for V3, then V4, then V5. Slowly we do these calculations for 51. Of course, we can write a program and then do, if you insert a adjacency matrix, and we can do, no harm in that. Fine. So what we did is we found terminal index for full binary tree, which is very tedious work. A lot of mathematics involved in calculating the full binary tree. You know what is a full binary tree? Every internal vertices will give 2 vertices out. Then if you have binary index of a graph G, how to find the terminal binary index of the graph G plus? Graph G plus is obtained by an arbitrary graph G by adding pendant edge to every vertex. So the original graph vertices is V1, V2, Vn. This is the extension pendant vertices, like a thorn graph. So wherever you have vertex, you put an extension Vi dash. So G plus. For this, the pendant index is original index plus n into n minus 1. These are all the mathematical play, and then you explore the concept. And similarly, we found the terminal index of the graph G plus X. G plus X is obtained by G from G plus by adding an edge from each interior vertex of G to a new vertex X. So connecting this, we get the terminal index to be 2p square minus 2p minus q. So you just play the idea with the number of vertices in just p and q. So the results are coming like that. And suppose if you have a graph with pendant vertices, by joining the pendant edges to all pendant vertices successively, then the terminal index of the pth stage. So what I'm doing, instead of having one pendant vertex, I draw 2, 3, 4, keep on joining parts of length k. Well, at the pth stage, you get to the terminal index is equal to terminal index of the graph plus pk into k minus 1. So likewise, if you start adding k1 comma n, so these will definitely be useful when you calculate for a chemical compound. Once you have a chemical compound, you have an index, a terminal index. Next time, you will not experiment and do that, because when you apply this formula and then calculate the terminal index, and it will be useful for predicting your physiochemical properties of the chemical compound. So simply the answer is this may be a compound, right? If you attach the carbon to carbon. So m square TW of G plus mk into mk minus 1. So one need not go to the laboratory to find for interpolation, extrapolation problem for predicting the physiochemical properties. That is the main idea. This may be mathematics, raw mathematics, but you substitute the value of this particular k and reduce for m, in reality you make it a chemical compound. Then caterpillar, you know what is a caterpillar? A caterpillar is from a path for every vertices, you can join any number of pendant edges. So if you various positions, you have k pendant vertices. You can vary the pendant edges, you can vary the positions also. So accordingly, we have derived a formula. So this is caterpillar. Okay, right. So we have a small work like tetramethyldocaine. So 4 positions are there. various compounds. Here we took 3, 4, 6, 10 tetra methyl decane. For this particular compound, we found the terminal vanillin index. Okay, and then keep on changing the position. The terminal indexes were varying. Okay, from 91 to 100, from 91 to 100. So for what number you require physiochemical properties, if you predict that compound can be calculated from by the calculation, and then you can find out that you can maybe bring the product of the compound. Maybe you can derive the compound by your experiment, chemical reaction. See, I add two compounds, I get a third compound. Product A and product B in the test tube, I get a product C. Okay, what is the expectation of product C? You have to do the lab experiment. You got to see the melting point, the boiling point, and some other molar volume, physiochemical properties required. So instead of every time doing the calculation, theoretical calculation is here. For this particular number I require, what is that? Maybe for 96 I want, okay, let me give tetramethyl. But you know the converse is not true for a polynomial. If this is an index, is an invariant is same. For every graph, we have a distinct graph invariant. That is the topological index, the terminal index. So I want a compound with the 96 with this number of carbon atoms. So I am able to try to get this particular compound. Theoretically, it will be useful. Terminal vanillin index for caterpillar graph what was a challenging study, and then we succeeded in finding the derivation as a theorem. Terminal index is for deuter saturated. This is one type of tree graph. Is said to be deuter saturated if an addition of any edge results increases the greatest path length. The characteristic graph is given benzoid graph consisting of vertices. So look at this. This is 4 benzoids. Okay, I take this like a claw. This is called cata-condensed of dualist of graph T0, 0th position. Everywhere I put a Y. I extend a Y at every vertex. Everywhere I extend a Y. So this is growing. This is a deuter saturated tree. And a double claw. Earlier was a single claw, now double claw. Okay. This is also another model. Okay. So for this, we calculated the terminal vanillin index. Challenging calculation. This is for calculation. Again, the question is, you can write a program and calculate. That's a simple answer is yes. But mathematician like to have an actual formula for him. Looks beauty. So this is nanostar dendromers. Nanostar dendromer possesses a well-defined molecular topology. For every infinite integer n denotes a growth of a nanostar dendromer. The third kind of growth nanostar dendromer is like this. This is a single. It grows like this. For that, we have the calculation of terminal index. Look at this. A benzene ring. Okay, C6 is a benzene ring. Okay, it is ready to take both the sides. Right. Now, I would like to introduce a few more index and then go to the application. Reverse Wiener index. The reverse Wiener index is lambda. G is sigma Rij. Rij is defined to be d minus dij. Dij is a distance, d is the diameter. So take the diameter of the graph and subtract to the shortest distance. If I not equal to j, it's equal to g, then it's 0. So add this will get reverse Wiener index. This is one study. And again, we have a relation with the Wiener index and reverse Wiener index. Reverse Wiener index is half of n into n minus 1 to d minus wg. Such way you exploit the formula. So calculate the reverse Wiener index is 24 for this particular graph. The diameter of the graph minus dij. Okay, you can find the diameter of the graph. The maximum distance is 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Distance between v1 v2 is 3. So 3 minus 1, 3 minus 2, 3 minus 3, 3 minus 2, 3 minus 1. That is between v1 r v1 v2 r v1. So we calculate it's 24. Then we can see the relationship. This 24, how do you get this 24 is the thing about Wiener index is 24. This is Rij is 21. So substitute here half into n to n minus 1 to diameter minus wg, you get 24. Reciprocal reverse Wiener, just the inverse of that 1 by Rij. Reciprocal reverse Wiener index is we calculated like this. Reciprocal complementary Wiener index. complementary Venn index, number of the graph is defined as half of sigma RCAJ, or simply I less than J RCAJ, where RCAJ is defined as 1 plus D, capital D, minus Dij. Okay, where D is the diameter of the graph of G. Dij, as usual, the distances, but add 1 here. That is complementary, so 1 plus. So that is source here, the calculation. Okay. As we took earlier, 2,2-dimethyl butane, earlier we took this, and then we had adjacency matrices, and we talked about the valence and so on. Fine. So take that same compound. If you find the Wiener index, it is 28, Edge-Wiener 13, Terminal-Wiener 15, Carrera index. So I will find, we have found Barber index, all these things. Well, and then put a chart for this graph, Wiener index stands the highest. Well, now come to the lambda. I said your trace of the matrix is 0, sigma lambda is 0, but why sigma lambda is 0, sum of the eigenvalue is 0, property, trace of the matrix. But modulus absolute value is not 0. That gives the energy of the graph. So beautiful concept, energy of a molecular graph is sum of the absolute value of the eigenvalues of the adjacency matrix of the molecular graph. How do you get the energy of a molecular graph? Sum of the absolute value of the eigenvalues of the adjacency matrix of the molecular graph. Similarly, Zagreb index, in detail we'll go here. So we get a relation between the linear relation between the index, Estradar index is e power lambda I, Estradar index, and it's a constant times Zagreb index, and plus constant. Zagreb index is sum of the squares of the distances with degrees of the compounds. In detail, we'll study Zagreb index now. So ultimately, the application is to quantify the degree of folding long chain molecules. It provides a measure to average centricity of the chemical networks. And it is connects the Estradar index and concept and atomic bond branching. Well, so similarly, we can find the eigenvalues from Laplacian matrix. Laplacian matrix is V minus A. A is adjacency matrix, V is the valence matrix or degree of the vertices. In the principal diagonal, we have the degree. So for that, we calculate the eigenvalues. Okay, and then that eigenvalues, if you say x1, x2 up to xn, the lambda 1 and to lambda n, then the Wiener index is nothing but n into I running from 2 to n, okay, 1 by lambda, because the first one, lambda 1, okay, we don't take it as a 0 is one of the sum of one of the eigenvalue. If 0 is one of the 1 by 0 is not defined, so therefore it is I is equal to 2 to n 1 by lambda I. Okay, this is another useful formula. So we took some chemical compounds and the topological indices. Okay, the portion is being changed here. It's n-octane, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 carbon atom octane, called n-octane. And we inserted one methyl group in the second position, third position, fourth position. And we tried to break this and bring it as the number is being maintained. 10 carbon atom, 10 is being maintained, 8 is maintained. And we're twisting it and having an ethyl group and methyl group in the next position. So we have chemical compounds with the same number of carbon atoms. Okay, 2, 2, 2, 4 trimethyl pentane. So anyhow, pentane is 5, 5 plus 3 positions here 8. So 8 is kept, 8 carbon atoms is kept in different chemical compound arranged with 8 atoms, saturated atoms, saturated hydrocarbons. Then we can find the Wiener index is varying like this. Estradar index is e power lambda is like this. Energy of the graph is like this. Zagreb index is like this. Okay, so that has been posted, and we find a linear relationship between Estradar and this particular graph. These are lines of regressions of. Well, what is Zagreb index? Sum of the squares of the degrees. First Zagreb index. Zagreb index 2. That is sum of the product of the degrees of the end vertices of an edges. So if you look at this particular graph, you remember that we got Wiener index 8 in the beginning. Here, the Zagreb index is sum of the squares of the degrees of the vertices. 1 square. Then this is 3 square. This is 2 square. And again 2 square. So it's 18. This is first Zagreb index. Second Zagreb index, for this edge V1, V2, 1 into 3. V2, V3, it is 3 into 2. V2, V4 is 3 into 2. V4, V3 is 2 into 2. So this comes to be 19 is second Zagreb index. Then reformulated Zagreb index. Likewise, then reformulated Zagreb index of this specific graph is 26. And this is a rare compound. This is called methylene cyclopropane. Methylene cyclopropane. This is what we were dealing earlier in the two examples, which main index is 8. This is the original molecular formula, and this is the hydrogen duplicate, molecular graph. Well, so likewise, we can study